Hey guys, welcome back to our video. Today I'm going to be talking about the MM2 lore. You might not think that MM2 has lore, but it actually does have lore, and it's actually pretty interesting. Basically, MM2 sort of has a timeline, and it's actually pretty cool, and today I'm going to be explaining that timeline. A lot of this I put together myself, but some of this is actually from this video. I'll put it on screen. Most of the lore was pieced together by me, but some of it I actually took inspiration from that video. So yeah, credit to that video. This story begins 200 years ago. In the farmhouse. A UFO flew right over the farmhouse. The UFO crashed into the MM2 map, destroying it. 200 years have passed and now we are at the factory. The factory is run by Zyleak. His son is named as Quinn, who will later also change his name to Zyleak. One of the workers at the factory had a son. His name was Nicholas, which is why you can see Nicholas in the window of factory. Quinn was always at the factory too, constantly, because his father owned the factory. Same with Nicholas because his father worked at the factory, so Quinn and Nicholas ended up becoming friends. Years passed, and Nicholas ended up going to work at Office 3, which is where he met Dylan, Joven, and Slaus. Nicholas became very successful. He started his own business, which is Bank 2. You can tell he founded the bank by the statue of Nicholas in the front of the bank. He even hired Dylan and Joven to work there. Slaus never worked at the bank. Some say that he ran off to a circus and became the infamous clown Pennywise, but there's no proof that actually backs that up. Meanwhile, Quinn creates Hotel. The proof of him creating Hotel is that there's a plaque that says his name on it on the front desk. While Nicholas's bank thrived, making him rich, Quinn's hotel doesn't do very well. For starters, nobody showed up to the hotel for the bad service, such as how the water in every sink was frozen solid. Quinn became jealous of Nicholas. He wanted to find other ways to become rich, so he secretly enrolled into the military. This is where Quinn changed his name to Zyleak after his father so he could change his identity, as seen on this chair in Millbase. Zyleak wanted to change his identity because he was secretly doing experiments underneath Millbase in the biolab. The proof that Biolab is right underneath Millbase is because they both have the circular object in them. Meanwhile, Joven created his own company, ThexCorp. Zyleak was researching cloning. Joven was also researching cloning, so they ended up working together. In the research facility. Zyleak needed more test subjects to clone. He still was jealous that Nicholas was more successful than him, so he ended up kidnapping Nicholas along with Dylan. He put them into test tubes and started to clone them. Meanwhile, Joven was researching a UFO that crashed into the MM2 lobby 200 years earlier, and he decided to go find it. While Joven was exploring the wreckage, Slaus found out that Zyleak had kidnapped Nicholas and Dylan, so he went to the research facility to confront Zyleak. Zyleak went to the biolab to get some tape, and when he came back to the research facility, he saw Slaus. Zyleak didn't know what to do, so he punched Slaus in the face, knocking him out. Zyleak used the tape that he had gotten at Biolab, put tape over Slaus's mouth, and locked him in the locker. You can still see the tape here to this day. And the only remain of Slaus is his clown knife in the locker. A little later, Joven came back from the wreckage of the UFO. He came back with a dormant alien. Some of you may know him as the Reaver. The Reaver was being held in a test tube, but it escaped, which is why one of the test tubes is broken. The Reaver broke out of the research facility and started a zombie apocalypse infection. To make things worse, the Reaver had lit off radiation around the hospital, so the hospital had to be quarantined. There was a computer at the hospital, and the date said November 2nd, 2014. 5 years later, Hospital 3 and Hotel 2 were opened. The only reason why those two places were able to be built was because 2 years earlier, the Reaver had mysteriously left. But not after killing 99% of the population. Zyleak and Joven survived the infection. Zyleak escaped through the sewer system in the research facility, and Joven hid in the secret room. So yeah, that is the MM2 lore. Tell me if you did enjoy. MM2 shouldn't really have lore and like a crazy storyline, but it actually does, and it's super interesting. But yeah, I think that'll be for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and I'll troll that outro. Peace.